expressed in this show belong to the person expressing them. They do not purport to reflect the opinions or views of Rancher or any other entity. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Coffee and Cloud Native, the show that shares news and interesting content related to Kubernetes, Cloud Native, and other nifty technology. My name is Adrian Goins, and I'm excited to be here with you today. It's Thursday. The sun is out. That's nice. If you're watching live, consider following or subscribing to the channel. And if you're watching a replay, please give the video a thumbs up so that the YouTube algorithm shares it with other people. Join the free community site and the Discord server. There's a link to that. Live chat happens in Discord. There's a bot that relays between YouTube and Twitch, so come hang out with us during the show, after the show, and let's say hello to the people who are joining us live today. Where's that window? Where's that? We have so many people here today. Scrolling backwards. Good morning, Smalls, Wifebot, Ian, Wojtek, cześć Wojtek, long time no see. Peter Keach, OFS, nice to see you. Rob. Wifebot has just declared her love for Rammstein. I can't compete. I was gonna do like a metal voice, but no, I won't. Smalls is joining us today from Texas, where he is excited to have electricity today. And it's cold. I've been reading the news about that. All of y'all, wow, stay warm. Do your best. It's terrible. Go Texas. Dirk, hello, nice to see you too, sir. I guess your power's back. That's cool. Who else do we have? Mladen, Frank, Matthew Cooper, and of course all of you who are watching on YouTube and Twitch, who are not part of the chat. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Let's real quick do a bit of news. Remember that tomorrow is Shipwreck's Sunken Treasure, which is the episode of CNCN where Jason Shipek, I'm so sorry, dude. Wojtek, you can probably say his name right. It's a Polish name. It's lots of consonants. So we'll just continue saying Shipwreck. Shipwreck will do a deep dive into one of the Tool of the Day candidates from a previous episode. And if you join the community site, you can actually vote on what you would like to see. Right now, we are in a tie between running your own Nixery outside of Google and contributing back to Uptime Robot Operator. We had a tweet about Max, who created some content for Uptime Robot, and I wanted everybody to retweet that so that we could try and get Uptime Robot to give him a pro account so he could test some of the stuff that he's built but can't actually test. Thank you to all of you who retweeted that. I haven't heard anything from Uptime Robot about whether or not they did that, which is unfortunate. I hope they did, but if you want to see more stuff for Uptime Robot, get in and cast your vote for that. Otherwise, Nixery, Uptime Robot, and there's also Kubevela, ORAs, and node feature discovery with MaxMind GeoIP2, which I think would also be pretty cool. Get in, vote, and you'll see more about that tomorrow. And with that, let's begin. I should just make something up for this part. I should just do something completely different. Oh my gosh, we have robot GIFs. Thank you, everybody. Oh yeah, Smalls posted the thing from Boston Dynamics. That video was amazing where they had all their robots dancing together. Wow, I think somebody just made a bid to buy them. Hopefully they can stay cool. All right, so the collector bots have gathered candidates for the show, and Trufflebot has scored them from 1 to 5 copies according to the machine learning model. He'll post them one at a time in Discord. Anyone watching live can rate them. Your votes are used to train the machine learning model that curates content for the show. So come join, vote. Yay, hooray. First up in today's episode. I forgot my commands. Need buttons. Oh. First up today, we have Z. Now, this particular article is a little bit old, like 2018 old. That's really old in internet years. But Z as a tool is amazing. I use the fish shell, And anybody who uses Fish or ZSH is familiar with the cool stuff that they do around context-aware directories for history and for recommending commands from your history. So Fish is fantastic, and I always get people when I'm doing a training who are like, what are you using that has this, like, you're in a directory and it will recommend previous commands that you used when you were in that directory. Z is a tool that exists outside of the shell. So if you're using Bash or ZSH or Fish, there's a Fish port for this as well. It introduces the concept of frequency, which is a combination of frequency and recency for the directories that you've been in. Now, this only works for directories, but I frequently am bouncing back and forth between a handful of directories, whether I'm building content, working on the channel, working on the admin stuff, running bot commands, and Z will collect that information and then allow you to CD back to directories based solely on a regex. So this guy who wrote the article spends a lot of time in his .files directory, and now he can just type z.files, and it'll put him back in the most recent directory. And he can change whether that's based on the rank or based on recency. Because it's a regex, it'll actually use any portion of it, or you can say the last directory that ended in TMP by putting a $sign at the end of it. I'm always really happy with what Fish provides, but it doesn't do enough for directories, even with that cool little alt left right arrow thing that'll like go back through your directory stuff. And if you're familiar with pushd and popd and dirs and all of those standard commands, this is like that on steroids or on meth or on, no, probably not meth. I was gonna say on something that makes it useful, but I don't think meth has ever made anything more useful. It's really neat. So take that for a test drive. If you spend any time in the CLI, it will make your life better. And like I said, if you're using Fish, actually, let me just jump to that. Z Fisher. Oh, that's totally not what I want. Fish. There you go. If you're using the Fish shell, I mean, you know how it is. Everything's like, here's your command line, just source this for ZSH and Bash. But somebody actually ported Z directly to Fish. So don't spend any time installing the other one. Just go here and you'll do better. Next up, we have new content from our friends over at LearnK8s. This article was written by Emmanuel Evans and does a deep dive. I mean, I love LearnK8s' stuff. Like, I like to show the scroll bar for their articles, and like, look how tiny that thing is. It's the tinier the scroll bar, the more meat the article has, unless you're, one of those sites that has articles that are like this long and then ads or whatever. Do you remember back in the day when the SEO, whatever the SEO agencies, back when SEO was new and they would have like the white on white white text on a white background with all the keywords for keyword stuffing at the bottom of a page? I'm glad they don't do that anymore. I still run into sites that do that, and it's like, wow, that's so like 1999. In this fantastic article, LearnK8s takes us on a journey through the various patterns in which you would use a multi-container pod. Now, if you spend time in Kubernetes, you're familiar with multi-container pods for things like service mesh or for init containers that do all of the stuff that your regular container can't do. And I'm seeing people do really cool stuff with init containers, including bringing in updated entry point binaries for the main container, or pulling in secrets, or doing like much cooler stuff than just owning directories, which is pretty much the why init containers were created. Hello, Elasticsearch. This article will take you on an adventure for showing you other patterns. So there's the ambassador pattern. They have a link to like all of the actual patterns somewhere in here. Anyway, there's a link to all the various patterns that you would use this for. One of the examples that they give, though, is what if you have a legacy application that you can't necessarily convert to a 12-factor app or microservices or something like that? In many cases, people are taking their legacy applications and running them as virtual machines with kubevert or Harvester or something like that. And that's fine if your legacy application needs an entire VM. But if you can just take the application and wrap it in a container, even if it itself doesn't necessarily have all of the interfaces to plug into the pieces that you want it to plug into, well, then you can wrap it again with other containers within the pod that will do other stuff. So they've got examples here for dropping TLS awareness in front of a non-TLS aware application. They use Elasticsearch and Nginx for that. Taking that further to talk about doing MTLS, so that's the service mesh idea, and tons and tons and tons of other stuff. There we go. So there's a paper from Google that talks about all of the specific patterns. If you've ever read anything by LearnCates, you know that you will walk away from this feeling like you just ate a massive 7-course dinner at the best restaurant in town. So I'm always happy to feature their stuff on the show. Thanks, guys. There's a dog whining outside my window. We put the dogs outside this morning. Usually they're in their crates during the show, but one of them got a treat this morning, which was a rabbit. We have 100 to 150 wild rabbits that run around in the field that's part of our property, and we have to periodically like deal with them. So I collected a rabbit for Foxtail last night and fed it to him this morning. Anyway, the other dog is now mad that she doesn't have a rabbit, but she got the last rabbit. And okay, let's see if I can make some crazy puns. So go from last rabbit to LastPass. This is garbage news, but it makes me sad to see companies do this. I get that LastPass needs to make money, and they've figured out that their free tier was just a little bit too free. So what they've done is they've said, okay, there are two use cases. There's the using LastPass on my computer and using LastPass on my mobile device. I'm pretty sure that everybody who uses LastPass, 1Password, any of these utilities wants the integration between computer and mobile device so that I save a password on my computer and then I can log into Discord from my phone or something like that. Well, they decided to separate those. And now you have to choose which one you want. So if you're on the free tier, you can either get computer or you can get mobile. And if you want the two of those to talk to each other, well, then you get to give them money. By itself, that's a fine idea. And it's actually not that expensive. It's like, So premium, they're having a special right now where it's $225 per month billed annually. That comes out to, can't do math that quick. It's got decimals in it from America. $27 a year. $27 a year? Okay, for what? If you use it, that's totally reasonable. The normal price is $3 a month billed annually, which I also think is a scam. Why not just say it's $36 a year? I mean, they might as well say that it's only, you know, let's see, 3 divided by, divided by, how many? Well, whatever. Let's say it's $3 a month, and let's say there's 31 days in a month. So they might as well say that it's 9.6 cents a day billed annually. Or, you know, if there's, how many hours? There's 24 hours. So it's 0.004 cents per hour billed annually. It's garbage. Like, we're smarter than that. Anyway, it's not that expensive. And if you use the service, it's totally worth paying for. But what I really don't like is this appears to be a bait and switch. They gave us a free thing. We all went and we became customers. I don't use it, but I'm saying we, because like, you know, solidarity. We all became their customers. And then once they had a bunch of customers and they reached critical mass, they changed the terms. Totally within their right to do. But if you are uncomfortable with that, then consider alternatives. Consider paying a different company who perhaps is a little bit more ethical. Although, you know, whatever, 1Password did almost the same thing a few years ago when they went SaaS. Or look at solutions like BitWarden. BitWarden, when I looked at BitWarden when I was deciding whether or not to pay 1Password, it ran great. And I really liked that I could run my own sync server, because one of the things that causes the most anxiety for me is the fact that my passwords, despite them being all super gnarly encrypted, are out there entrusted in a third party's database. LastPass themselves have been owned a few times. With BitWarden, you can run your own sync server in your own infrastructure, and you're responsible for maintaining that. So if you trust yourself, then that's a good alternative solution. There's also KeePass and a few other things. So if you are not already aware that this is coming, Another company that did this was Dropbox when they said, oh, now you can only have 3 devices synchronizing. And yeah, I've pretty much stopped using Dropbox because of it. Vote with your feet. If you don't care, give them some money. If you do care, tell them where they can go. This next one comes to us from Tribble. Thank you, sir. And pfSense 2.5 is finally out. If you run pfSense, great. You may have been waiting for this for a while. This article talks about the features that are in it, and I'm linking to this because they also have other articles that talk about the specifics, like the new WireguardVPN. That's huge. I run OpenVPN tunnels out from my pfSense firewall, and it just feels so clunky. Like I really want to run WireGuard because it just seems so much better. Plus it's cool and new. Who doesn't want to run everything that's cool and new? Well, now they have WireGuard support in pfSense 2.5. If you have spent any time with pfSense, you know that probably you shouldn't upgrade to the latest and greatest release, but I've been running a beta version of 2.5 for a while now, and I think they spend enough time in beta that it's probably okay. However, if I scroll down to the comments, somebody tried to do an upgrade last night, and his response is 2.5 is all jacked up. So your mileage may vary. Definitely make a backup and be prepared to roll back. I run pfSense in a Proxmox VM, so I can just snapshot the VM, do an upgrade, and if it sucks, roll it back, and that'll be fine. There's other cool stuff in here. They're finally on Python 3. They've got automatic log rotation for log files. Welcome to the future. And a bunch of other stuff. But the main one, I think, is the WireGuard solution. Now, I know that some of you have bounced. Oh, sorry. The other main thing is that they're reinstating a paid tier. So the community edition is going to be nerfed, and they're going to try and get you to pay for it. But honestly, I'm okay with that. I think that they've done a good job of making features available in the free tier and making premium features available in the paid tier. If you don't need those features, then there's no reason to pay. But if you do, I mean, come on, pay. Some people didn't like that and bounced to OpenSense. There you go, OpenSense. I'm not familiar with OpenSense. If any of you have used it and have a comparison that you want to throw out, all of us in the community would love to hear from you. Oh, the next one I am so happy to share with you. This is a new blog article from, once again, our very own Frank. Frank, whose last name I don't know how to say. So I'm not even gonna try because I'm sure that, yeah, so Frank J, we'll go with that. Frank is amazing. We, for a couple of months in the community, were doing monthly themes, and I fell off of that for 2021, and I'm going to reinstate them again because I think that they're important. And it's just an idea of, hey, this month, let's try and all do something around something. So we had a month on policy, and then as part of policy, we had Falco in there. And then we had a month on something else. I don't remember. It was so long ago, 2 months. Anyway, Frank, in response to the Falco challenge for the policy month, went out and started learning how to do stuff with Falco. And in his article that he just published, what, 2 days ago? 3 days ago? He will take you on an awesome journey about, once again, the options that were available, the problem he was trying to solve, how he did an analysis of those available options, what he tested, why he made the decision, before he even gets to, and then here's how you can do it yourself. It's another one of those amazingly long articles. You can see that little tiny scroll bar over there. And it walks through everything, the installation, hooking it up to, so he decided to install it directly on the nodes, then hooking it up to Kubernetes to send audit events, configuring it to talk to Loki, installing Falco Sidekick to centralize the alerts, issues that he had that he was able to overcome through support from the Falco community and from Dan Pop. And at the end of this, he says that as a result of this entire experience, he was able to contribute back to Falco Core and, to Falco Sidekick and the Falco Sidekick UI. So he started from nothing and ended up as a contributor in the actual project itself. That's just an amazing, amazing journey. If you have any interest in Falco, if you have any interest in anything, read the article. It's a really nice article. Somebody pinged me. Looking for the highlight, and nope. Didn't see what it was. Next up, oh yeah, this. If you're on a Mac, this popped up and, well, I think it's actually kind of cool. If you're on a Mac, you already have a virtualization infrastructure built into your Mac. This is what Docker uses. Docker doesn't run natively on Mac. It hides that and proxies it through a virtual machine. Personally, I've never used the virtualization engine on my Mac other than just having Docker do it. I'll install something else. I'll install VirtualBox, or what was the other one? VMware Fusion. Oh, did I say VMware? Anyway, this is VMCLI, which is just a simple set of utilities to directly interface with the virtualization framework that already exists on your Mac. So you just need to install Xcode, and then you can just run VMs as part of that engine itself. Neat. Lowers the barrier of entry to using the resources that are already available on the hardware that you own. Almost made it a tool of the day, but then I didn't. I actually had 3 things come up today as candidates for tool of the day, and I bounced 2 of them. One of them because it just didn't work. Like, it just didn't work, and I didn't want to put Shipwreck in a place where at the end of the show he's trying to take it for a test drive and it just doesn't work. What is this? Oh, this horizontal scaling WebSockets on Kubernetes and Node.js. The title's actually misleading. This is an article about the horizontal pod autoscaler in Kubernetes and how to use custom metrics to scale it. So in this case, they're saying, let's scale it on number of WebSocket connections. WebSockets, persistent connections, because they're persistent, if you have a whole lot of people connected or a whole lot of clients connected, they may not be people, then you need to make sure you have resources available so that you don't run out of connections. This is a walkthrough on using Prometheus and horizontal pod autoscaler with custom metrics for that. We've had custom metrics on before. I'm throwing this on because I've not encountered anything related to WebSockets before. I've started doing a lot of stuff with WebSockets around Node-RED. In fact, a portion of the show with the button interface through Node-RED that goes to OBS is actually done via WebSocket connections and some glue that I wrote. So being able to scale WebSocket stuff, yay. And a nice walkthrough. You can carry this over into anything else where you want to use custom metrics. When I rank content for the show, so it goes through the machine learning model, and then I screen it, and I reject things that either I don't think apply well enough, or are too specific, or are too old, or are something that we've already discussed. Lately, I've been bouncing a whole lot of Azure stuff. For some reason, the ML model really likes Azure content. I don't know. Anyway, this article is interesting because it talks about GitHub Actions, which we've also had on the show a fair bit recently, and I want to continue to show them the love as more people are starting to get busy with GitHub Actions. Although it is Azure specific, I'm including it anyway because I found it interesting that the Azure K8s deploy action for GitHub Actions supports different styles of deployment as defined by the strategy action input. None just does a rolling update. Canary deploys a new version, and blue-green deploys a new version, blue-green. Okay, whatever. Now, if you choose the canary deployment, you have an option for the traffic split method. And, one of them is service mesh. Whatever, great, service mesh, no problem. But they also include a pod option. And I thought that was interesting. You can tweak the amount of old version and new version, and it will run pods split between the percentages that you specify and rely on Kubernetes load balancing to act as like a fake canary. It's a hacky solution, but if you don't have a service mesh deployed, maybe it's good enough. So I thought that was interesting. And the other part of this article, the rest of it's like install Linkerd and how to do stuff with Azure and whatever. But the other part of this that I thought was interesting is down here where he starts comparing, what's launched and how the metrics are split. Where is it? In this one here. So he goes with the traffic split method and he's using Linkerd. And he doesn't split 10%, 90%. He splits 10%, 10%, 80%. And the 80% and one of those 10% are using the same image, which seems a lot like 10%, 90%. The reason that he does this is for one-to-one comparison of metrics between the baseline version and the new canary version. So he compares metrics for performance between the 10% here and the 10% here. And that way he gets a proper comparison of the actual amount of traffic compared to the performance, instead of trying to compare 10% to 90%, which may have skewed metrics. That's really smart. And we can incorporate that into other canary deployment style things that we do, whether you're doing it with Azure or anything else. The rest of it is about rocking and rolling with Azure. And in fact, he actually ends with saying that while it's interesting, he's not going to use it in production. Instead, he recommends a solution such as Flagger or Argo rollouts that can do other stuff. And he has a link to a video where he talks about those. And now that leaves us with, everything is 4 coffees. The average rating of every single show is 4 coffees. It just seems suspicious. Today's tool of the day, Shipwreck's gonna hate me. Today's tool of the day is called Hydra. Not Hydra like the evil enemy from, what is it, Avengers? Captain America? That was Hydra, right? Why don't enemy organizations have like really simple names? Like, I don't know, I was gonna say like the Boy Scouts, but that's the wrong name. Just something that like, they're marching over the hill and everyone's like, oh yay, it's the purple hippopotami. Hydra is a massive OpenID certified OpenID Connect and OAuth provider written in Go. It's cloud native, security first, open source API security for your infrastructure. Has SDKs for any language and is compatible with MITRE ID. This is way more than just a tool, but for an open source solution for OAuth, OIDC, and all of those other things that I just said, this looks like a robust solution. I like that it's written in Go. I like that it has connectors for everything. I like that they have, a 5-minute tutorial for getting it set up, how to run your own OAuth 2 server. Everything is in here, including tremendous documentation and, well, yeah, what's not to like? I believe that, oh yeah, they have lots of sponsors. That's nice. And lots of contributors. Oh, that's also nice. And backers. I like projects that focus on doing one thing and doing that one thing very, very well. The more diverse we get, the temptation is to diversify and try and do lots of things, or try and do more things than are necessary, instead of just saying, no, this is the boundary at which we stop. What enables this to do that powerfully is the interfaces to any other programming language. If they say, no, we do this and we stop, but you can only talk to us via whatever, Go or something like that, then that limits their audience. By being truly open, but specializing in the core component and being open to external contribution and participation from the community, they end up with a product that is more powerful, more flexible, more robust, more distributed, more available. Like, everything starts with more. So I felt that they deserved a place on the show, even though, like, in the context of a tool, it's like saying that, the tool of the day is a combine harvester for the field. It's still really neat. And I need some sort of centralized authentication solution for my infrastructure. And I was like putting things on the show that I myself might use. So there you go. Who are they from? Ori.sh. Oh, they have lots of things with cool names. Kratos. Zero Trust Networking, powered by open source. All right, so yeah, as an organization, they're also worth looking at. They appear to have a whole lot of deployments secured. So there you go. ORY, maybe Ori, I don't know. Hydra, Kratos, Oathkeeper. Might want to change that name. Keto, Docker test. Awesome. And it's 10:01, so in line with the fact that this is a 30-minute show, we've got to get out of here. That's all for today. Woohoo! Thank you so much for watching. Let me get rid of that link thing there. There we go. Everything I talk about on the show goes up in the free community site at community.cncn.io. After the show ends, come join us. Community members get early access to links, video replay, and other exclusive content. And as you saw at the beginning of the show, you even get to vote on what Shipwreck is going to talk about tomorrow. If you have something that you would like me to consider for the show, post it in the community site or in the show suggestions channel in Discord, and I will take a look. Have a great day, everyone. Keep learning. Stay safe. Stay warm if you're in Texas, and I will see you in the next show. Tune in tomorrow when Shipwreck's gonna totally blow you away. Stay caffeinated.